Do you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Today it's Tuesday, July 8, 2014. You can hear me? Can we fix the mic? And do you hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Today is July 8, 2014, and it's 5:40 p.m. This is our regular CRA meeting, and thank you for coming in. Mr. City Clerk, let's the record show that we have come to conduct business today.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Board Member Keys.
Here.
Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Board Member Sterling.
Here.
Acting Chair Bien-Aimé.
Here.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Tonight we have a distinguished guest, and it's Commissioner Sally Amen. You know, she's been working hard in the CRA area to make sure we have money in our CRA account to serve the people, to serve the residents, and we are happy to have you here tonight. And I don't know if you want to address the podium. Yes, you can come forward. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, manager, and administration. And I apologize, it was a work day, but I came straight from downtown. I wanted to be here. I saw the significance of an administrative decision related to the CRA. I apologize. Commissioner Sally Heyman, Miami-Dade County, 111 Northwest 1st Street, Miami, Florida. And proud to represent the city of North Miami as one of my 13 municipalities. I'm coming to speak specific to the CRA board, specific to make a record that hopefully will be memorialized not just in your mediums, but also in the minutes taken. I've been an extreme critic of the CRA structure, whereas it exists under Florida statute. Anybody who can justify a blighted area that needs match money by a municipality to a county or another governing body, and then can share the monies coming in, they get to spend it. Then the oversight from the county as a partner is afterwards to reimburse it. That's a little late. And over the years, each time North Miami CRA presented their budget in recent years, I had great concern, and that's polite. I believe that the money had been misused. And knowing that you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that could be directed to what meets the legal definition of blight under CRA, that creates great concern for me. Let me tell you, you're one of 13 cities, but as Scott could tell you, my heart is in the city of North Miami. I'm a proud North Miami Pioneer graduate. I know this community. I grew up and played in this community. And to represent East of Biscayne Boulevard as a money source and a bargain deal from the development of Biscayne Landings and what it could offer to the city coffers and redistribute to a blight area was a unique formula we created at the county, because usually it's the city and then it goes into the designated area. We were going to create it into another area removed on the worst blight in the West End. And to have it go into salaries, to have it going into performances and get-togethers and commercials and economic development trips that didn't ever materialize because nothing was done at your home base, caused me to hold up your CRA dollars year after year till it came to the point of having to release it, or you would lose it and have to debt back a payment to the county, because that's how it works. You have to make up what we gave you that you spent, and in my opinion, wasted for years. And I had the support of my colleagues, because we sort of respect parochial, who represents an area, to know it best. There isn't any doubt the concern and the compassion, the professionalism that exists now in this administration, in my mind, to the decisions made by this administration, and I hope and I believe supported by your council. When you can take $250,000 in salary for less than 3 positions and redirect it into services, into defined blight, that speaks to what the intent of a CRA is and what your obligations have been and seem to be a struggle to succeed in. I have the confidence in this council to back up the administration. I am delighted that they took a suggestion, because we had a dialogue of what works. And they're meeting with a manager who ran the most successful CRA when he was at City of Miami. And they did it in-house. And that recommendation was made to Homestead, where they were on the cutting edge of losing theirs. And they had a management meeting and heard what they can do in-house with professionalism and professionals whose commitment is to their own respective city. The same applies to City of North Miami Beach. With a new manager, they went in-house, both with attorney counsel for the few times you have a meeting, to finance management, to direction of what is the best in meeting the obligations of resolving blight and enticing and increasing economic development. I believe the decisions made here is only detrimental to people who made over $100,000 and didn't deliver and put you on the cusp of losing your CRA dollars match from the county. You have resources downtown that are absolutely free. You have a compassionate, professional management team in other cities that have successful CRAs that are embracing your manager's willingness to work with him. You don't have to pay the money to have assistance. And I am delighted you're redirecting. What I saw in adding it up was from your own statement is $251 million. Envision what you can do to facades, to no-interest loans, to grants for painting, improving, steam cleaning, signage, assistance on anything else that goes in a commitment to say, we are reducing the blight, we are committed to this community, and we're going to use the tax dollars to deliver service. Bottom line is, I can't tell you how happy I am. I actually, for the first time, await with great anticipation your objectives, your redirected funds, and the goals you will achieve, and signing off for the first time without hiccups and hesitancy to a CRA budget that really is committed, whether you're dealing with the Main Strip, the West End, the East Side, Biscayne Boulevard. You got your pick. I just can't wait to see you redirect money to the services. You have my commitment. I will be not only next to you, Mr. Manager, Mr. Finance Director, I will be leading the flag downtown to get you fully refunded and support your future endeavors if this is a direction you're going to take. I'm here for any questions. I'll hang for a little while. I wanted to put on record how proud I am to represent this initiative and look forward to great things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Salieman. And Mr. City Manager, you heard the Commissioner. She's willing to help the city get money that we're going to transfer to the people. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a motion to approve the minute from the last board meeting?
So moved.
Did we get minutes? Do we have minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have it. There's a
Yeah.
correction. Yes. Yeah, pass.
You have
Yeah,
it.
where is it?
I haven't seen the minutes.
The minutes
I'll
from...
remove my motion for a second, excuse me, I'll remove my motion for approval.
Okay.
We have it. Give me my.
Give us a second. I think we're gonna review it and...
Just review
It's
it.
just review it and
Where is it?
But do not have one even for the agenda, or do not have?
whenever you're ready... No, we're gonna go for
Oh,
the...
go back, okay.
No, not for the agenda. A motion to approve the minute. And
Did,
whoever
um,
wanna introduce the motion
Mr.
after
Mayor,
a review.
didn't we approve the minutes from April also? Didn't we approve 2 sets of minutes last month? Or am I,
what?
Since we don't have the actual minutes here, I'll move that we continue the approval of the
The minute on the next...
last minutes until our next
Oh, you
meeting.
do?
Ne-
Okay.
Next minute.
And ask and plead to staff. I understand
Yeah.
there's been turnover. Handing us stuff right now
Yeah.
puts us at a bad spot. So move to continue.
Okay. Second,
Do them a correction.
anyone wish to record a no? Okay, that's mean the approval of the minute gonna be on the next
On the following agenda.
following CRA meeting. Mr. Director, is there any item for review or for actions?
No, we have
Capital improved. Mhm.
no nothing for direction. Our first item on the agenda that we do have is the CRA's CAFR, just for brief discussion.
Okay, agenda item 1
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
for discussion. Can I have some more explanation about it? Are we gonna have a presentation by your
No.
editor?
No, we're not going to have a presentation.
Okay.
What I want to do is to just summarize, and I believe you heard everything already
Mhm.
in my memo that was sent out to the board. Just page 3, I believe, summarizes on the financial highlights, page 3 of the CAFA that was sent out to all the board members.
Do you have a copy of the memo that you referred to?
Oh, the memo?
No. What
You're
is- what-
talking about the original one?
The original CAFA that went out to everybody.
Okay. Oh, okay, for the CRA.
For the
Okay.
CRA.
Okay.
Just the highlights, I believe, on the financial highlights. The CRA has actually dropped 31%, which or decreased by $213,000, and then a further additional decrease of 62%, resulting in another $600,000 in. Bottom line is what we're looking at is $469,000.
For this year budget.
And this for the CRA budget.
Okay.
And with cost of operation and personnel costs, together with rental of the buildings, adding up to $307,000, which resulted in the measures taken thus far in making the adjustments or restructuring of the CRA. With those numbers, I believe in consultation with the finance, with our budget department and also public works, most of the work in the CRA is going to be held or going to be done in-house or using in-house staff. The monies allocated for blight in the community and for projects are all going to be focused towards actual projects or brick and mortar projects, which I believe was the intent of the CRA.
Is there any question from board members? Are you gonna say something?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Also identified in the CAFR, it was recommended that we start fund balance accounting, monthly reconciliations, and just overall management of the CRA. And we've actually put in measures in place to follow these recommendations as suggested by the auditor. So we'll have a report at the next meeting on our action plan on how we're going to move forward
Okay, with
and
the...
adjust these recommendations by the audit firm.
Okay. Is there any question from the board members?
I have some comments.
Mhm.
And I met twice with Mr. Sori, and thank you, Mr. Sori, for getting us the bank statements of where our money is. I've been asking for that for almost about 9 months. So now I know where our money is. I'm glad it's there. We spoke, and we do have some liabilities, current liabilities of, as of 2013, of $1,387,881. I don't believe you all have that tonight, but I would like to, sooner than later, get a breakdown of what those current liabilities are. I believe there's supposed to be projects that money's been allocated, but we want to look at that money. I wanted like a breakdown of those projects and see if we still have to have those allocated. There was a shortfall. I guess there was an overdraft of to the tune of almost $16,000, checks drawn in excess of bank balance. I
Yeah.
assume that's been taken care of by now.
Staff, myself and the CRA, the budget staff from the CRA met with the bank. We had a meeting today with the bank, and I will let Mr. Sori go into the minutes of that meeting.
What's happening with the accounts? We have two accounts. One is a regular operating account and one is a money marketing account. Monies have to be transferred into the operating account. The overdraft that is showing up, basically at the day when they did run it, say if it was a Wednesday, September 30th, there was an overdraft in the operating account. They hadn't transferred the money. But since the problem
You said
has been
they have to-
rectified,
You said they have to transfer the money.
they have to transfer money out of the money market account into the operating account to pay bills, pay staff, everything they were doing. That has been rectified. The problem is rectified. And moving forward in the future, this will not happen. We've just today, we're sending a memo to the bank after we met with them for us to have e-banking where the money will automatically be moved over. We could do that without having to contact the bank. So we can move the money into the account to pay the bills. So we won't have the overdraft problems. It shouldn't happen again.
That's the $252,000 you want to transfer from.
Yes,
The
the thing you
trust
signed
fund?
today, yes,
Okay,
that's
to the-
exactly what, that's
okay.
one of
That's
those,
correct.
yes.
Okay.
We won't have to do that moving forward.
Okay.
I have two other questions.
Yes, go
Please.
ahead.
Going forward with our transparent CRA, will we be able to start posting our checks and expenditures online? Our website has not been attended to for about 2-3 years. It's void. That's one of the things, as far as websites, all of our minutes and agendas for the past, from inception until about a year ago, have disappeared from online. I want our CRA website back up and running. We haven't posted a project in several years, and I'm hoping we'll get with IT and start posting. But when I go back to look at something that happened 3 years ago, it's gone. So I'm hoping that we'll get that back up, and going forward, I'd like to see our checks posted.
Yes, we will take care of that for now.
And one last item, we didn't discuss it, it's not on the agenda, but does this board feel the need for any type of forensic audit as we're doing in the city? Because this is a separate agency, it's not the city, and I'm just throwing it out that maybe the CRA should also do its own separate audit.
In meeting with the auditing firm, and if it is the direction of the board, we can do so, but in meeting with the auditing firm, he saw no need for us to move forward with the forensic audit. The money was there and the bank accounts showed the same, but if it is the direction of the board, we can move forward with the audit.
Well, then I'm still going to request, because I requested this a while ago, I wanted a year worth of expenditures. I'd like to be able to review the expenditures for the past several years. You've given me copies of checks since January 1st, 2014. I would like to go back further and see where our money really has been spent.
Don't you think it will be better to have another CRA meeting before we go on recess, where we can have all those information about the financial situation, all the information about the bank's account, then we will move forward and decide what we want to do.
I'd like to get some more financials.
Because I have a lot of information that you just sent over to me, and by reviewing them, I have a lot of questions that I would like to ask you about those accounts, those transfers, those projects that have been financed by the CRA, and if it's the desire of the board, and why don't we have another separate CRA meeting with like a workshop where we can put everything together and talk about
through the
everything
chair,
and see
I
exactly where we want to go.
Yeah, I apologize, but, and through the chair, I do apologize for giving you all this information, at the meeting today, but the meetings with the bank, and going through the files at the CRA office, it was done on Friday when 4th of July holiday. We are putting together the report on all the businesses that actually got contracts with the CRA. I had 2 people come in my office today saying that they did meet with the previous CRA coordinator and monies was allocated per contract. All of those are being put together with the reports and how much the CRA right now is indebted or how much is committed with CRA funds. And a complete report would be, we'll be putting together a complete report and sending it to the board.
Can we have another board meeting like next week where we're going to have all those information and if we want to move forward? Yes.
I agree with the acting mayor or the acting chair that we do need to. I would prefer to sit down with the executive director individually to ask our questions, and I know that board member Keys has been asking for those account check balance for a while now. I would suggest, because to me, having another meeting, we're just going to sit here and asking for things that's not going to be provided to us. So I would suggest during those weeks that we're not meeting, each one of us in our regular time that we meet, because I know next week, if you have it, I'm not going to be here. And so for recess, the month of recess, that's when I plan different things with family and personal things. So
okay, the
I would
way I was
prefer
asking,
to do it individually instead of calling.
What I was
meetings
asking,
with
why
recess.
I was asking that, it's first of all, and get all the information, all the tools that we need, then we can go public and explain to people exactly what we want to do with the CRA to extend the life of the CRA. I think that's why I'm asking that, having meeting with you personally, one-on-one with everybody, we get all the information, then we can know exactly what we want to do with our CRA. That's why I say another public meeting after we get all the information. I don't know.
That's fine with me.
Personally, I think it's extreme circumstances that we should forego our summer recess. I think we should continue to meet through July, August, and into September as regular. So it would be my recommendation that we suspend.
We extend our recess maybe for this month.
Get rid of the recess. Don't do the recess. We've got a lot of business at hand. We've got, if after tonight, as it stands now, we don't meet again until September 11th.
September 11th.
So,
And it's going to be a budget.
right, and we're right in
That's
the heart of
correct.
budget. So my personal opinion, and I'm pained to say this because we should have a recess, but under the extraordinary circumstances we're in, I'd ask that we meet regularly through the summer.
Since I know, and some people already set up vacation time with the family, I don't think,
I think we should.
we should
if
do that. Maybe if we have one or
Special meeting, I
two
wouldn't
special
mind.
meeting for this month, and first of all about that CRA issue, and to know exactly in what direction we're gonna go, because it's very, very important between the information that we have in and the information it's who's out there on the street. And I don't know if if I can bring a motion on the table to have another CRA meeting next Tuesday at 5:30
I won't be available.
or another day. A day where everybody can be there.
So, may I? I will try my best to be in the meeting if it's possible for me. If not, you
No, we
guys
want to
can
make
move
it
on.
possible.
But
that
what
you're there.
but what I'm suggesting is that it seems if we want to have a productive meeting, we give staff direction. I know board member Keys wants what is it that you
I want to see numbers. I want to see
She
real
needs some
figures.
numbers. We need to give staff time to find the numbers. You have questions, so
We wanna
I would
see
suggest
names
that
and numbers.
the same way that we usually do it when we call for emergency meeting or special meeting. So once we feel that we have enough information, then we can call a special meeting with different dates, and I will
Okay.
make myself available within that.
Okay, that's-
But if you call it for Tuesday, next
No.
Tuesday, I'm not gonna be available.
Okay.
Or
If I
what
understand,
is
you will
it?
prefer
Will be.
you will prefer an
In 2
executive
weeks.
session.
Yeah, not executive session, a special meeting. A special executive session, you meet separately without the public.
Yeah.
Special meeting, we can call it whenever, then it's up to the public, or workshop, it doesn't matter to me. But
Can
I
we
would
do it-
suggest that we meet and then we call it whenever. But if you
Can we do
schedule
that
it tonight,
Tuesday?
So, no, actually, we need about 2 weeks. I just talked to staff. We're putting together the report on all the contracts. So with all the financials and the
All
contracts
the numbers.
and the numbers, we will need about 2 weeks to put together the report to bring it for the board to review.
Okay, and do that, and when you're ready, then you will call us and we will set it up.
Yes.
And any other
Yeah, that's
questions? Do anybody have any questions for the board members? Mr. McDermott?
Mike McDermott, 840 Northeast 127th Street. We had a CRA advisory board meeting last night, and the board made a motion and we voted to absolutely thank the city manager and endorse everything that he's doing going forward, and with the changes that he has already implemented. And we just wanted to put it on record that the board was totally in favor of what he's doing and where he's going with the CRA. Thank you.
Thank you. And we automatically jumping on agenda item 2, and we've been discussing about it. Mr. Beck.
Kenneth Each, I'm a member of the Planning Commission, also the CRA. I concur with Mr. McDermott said about last night. We did vote unanimously to support the director's decision on this. And if we go back in time, I'm not here to point fingers, but we did squander money on things that were not essential to the CRA. Sending young people on a journey up to Savannah, Georgia, or Washington, D.C., or Tallahassee had nothing to do with getting rid of blight. Giving money to different associations had nothing to do with getting rid of blight. I think even the Attorney General of the state of Florida came down and said specifically, CRA funds are to be used for brick and mortar projects. It's not a pool to dip into and have a good time with. And we did waste a lot of money. I've been in this city since 1971 or 2. I bought my first property in 1980. And it breaks my heart to see what I see out there today. Also, with regards to the CRA, Downtown Redevelopment, and the Planning Commission, you have like 3 different entities here, and we all have to work together because we all want to see the city progress to become something that we can be proud of. Instead of a drive-through, we should be a destination point. You know, I look at what's going on around us at North Miami Beach, Bay Harbor, Bell Harbor, Sunny Isles, Aventura, and I see stagnation. I've said this before. When I was in the police department, we used to say that this is the town that time forgot. Folks, you're not the Council of Trent. You don't have to look through your telescope because you see what I see. When Galileo went before the Council of Trent and he said, look, the world rotates, and they said, no, we don't want to look because we don't want to believe. Well, you believe. I know what's in your heart. I know what you want to do. It's time that we use downtown redevelopment, the CRA, the Planning Commission, redo our land use ordinances, and bring this city into the current century. Not the last century, but the current century. You know, we can generate a great tax base, create good jobs, and have a decent, beautiful city. I look at Northwest 7th Avenue, I look at 125th Street, it breaks my heart. We have areas where we can develop and develop them magnificently. And we don't have to look at high rises or density as something that's evil. You know, one other thing I just want to say, and I mentioned this last night. Biscayne Landing's got a pretty good deal up there. They got a pretty darn good deal. The last good deal like that was Peter Stuyvesant when he bought the island of Manhattan for $26 from the Indians. and they got a good deal, and we got to hold their feet to the fire. You know, I want to see something happen nice in this city, not the same treadmill that we've been on for the last 30 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Andy Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane.
The mic.
Now it's on.
Okay.
Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I see a gentleman here in this room that is one of the smartest, most brilliant director that ever was here in our CRA and in many other CRAs, and that's Frank Schnidman. And it's great to see him here and know that he's on board with us. He was dismissed by a former city mayor, which that's when our trouble started, after he left. So I'm very happy to see him in this room, and I hope he is very involved with our CRA going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments about agenda 2?
We are into.
Agenda item 2. The discussion about the reorganization of the CRA.
One thing just that I want to share with the board, the CRA office is still over there. We're in the process of canceling some of the contracts now, some of the operating contracts, the copy machine, the Comcast, the internet, and we're in the process of going through all the files and trying to scan the files because it's all public record. But we do have about 8 years worth of stuff over there that we're trying to get scanned and put in some type of order. But we're working on that now to eventually try to close the office in the next month or two.
Okay. And in your memo, you said by October 1st,
Yes.
everything going to be moving here.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other things we should know about the redevelopment and...
With the restructuring, as mentioned earlier, most of the services are going to be brought in-house. I have also the services of Gray Robinson, who is budgeted right now at $45,000 per year. I've renegotiated with
the CRA attorney.
With the CRA attorney.
Before it was 45,000.
Right, and he's willing to do it for 20,000 for the next fiscal year. The CRA meetings.
That's when we are saving about 25,000
That's
for the
correct.
upcoming year.
That's right.
Okay.
The CRA meetings moving forward will also be
The CRA attorney or CRA is the city,
No.
city
CRA attorney.
No, we're talking about the CRA attorney.
The CRA attorney.
Can I?
No, let him finish. And,
Okay.
and after
Yeah,
that,
I didn't
we'll
understand
ask
what-
questions.
Right.
Okay.
All CRA meetings moving until the end of this fiscal year, which is 13-14, would be held at no cost.
Okay.
By
we
the yeah.
It's no, but since we're gonna be in recess, it will
Well,
be
including
one.
this meeting, they are not going to be paid for.
For this one and maybe
Yes.
okay.
And maybe the other meeting that we have in September.
Okay, starting October 1st, the contract gonna be 20,000 instead of 45,000.
That's correct.
Okay. You can ask your question.
Thank you.
Councilor Still.
We negotiate with the city attorney, the CRA attorney. He agrees to have a $20,000 cut.
That's correct. I have the contract upstairs. It's not signed. I was waiting on this board meeting approval before I sign it and send it out.
That sounds very good. And a total of how much money that we save by now? Almost like
$25,000 in the contract as it exists right now.
So at the end of this fiscal year, we'll be saving almost $300,000,
That's correct.
which is very good, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
But here's my concern. Discussing the reorganization of the CRA, I think should have done before all that charade on the streets right now. I know that you have the power to fire and to hire, and I agree. And I think the CRA, all of us up here agree that that was well overdue. to reorganize the CRA. I don't have a problem with that. But what I have, the problem that I have is that I am discussing as the board, one of the board member, I am discussing things that I really take in action before I was aware of it. Not what you did is wrong, but I think the process never, ever done here at the city of North Miami. And it's weird to see we agree on that, which normally we never allow that, and I know some of us will be upset if it happened before then. And as I talked to you before, it's not about the staff, because I think even those staff members knew that the possibility was coming, but it just had to happen. Like, you sit down with the CRA attorney, negotiate his salary, which we voted to hire him, from what I understand. I didn't know that. That's a good thing. But at the same time, it does not, I don't know how many of the board members that know, and I know I'm always available, which you know. Night, day, I'm always available for phone calls or meeting. And I'm starting to question myself, why is it that everybody knows about what's happening in the city business, in the CRA business, but I don't know about it? And it's a shame, it's embarrassing to know that people are calling me, telling me what's happening in the city or what happened with the CRA when I'm available. And I hope that doesn't happen again, Arlene, because I am available and I am willing to serve the people that elected me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And
I just want to thank Commissioner Hayman for joining us this evening and your support. I really appreciate it. I know you've got a busy schedule. You're not here that often, so this was important to us, so thank you very much. And I also want to thank Dr. Schnidman for joining us this evening.
Is he on board for free as well?
Pardon me?
I heard a lot of freebies. Schneeber is on board for free?
No,
Well, he's
not as yet.
He's here tonight. He has not, I don't believe we're getting a bill for Dr. Schnidman. He attended last night's meeting. I watched him. He made very astute observations about our CRA. It was incredible, and thank you for that.
thank you very much. And Councilman Scott Galvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Chairman. I think the amount that we're paying Gray Robinson is too much. I think we should just have them on an hourly basis for the time that they're here. I'm sorry, I'm sort of motioning at you, not knowing if you're from Gray Robinson, but you're in that seat. My personal opinion, whatever the hourly rate is, if they're here for an hour, our CRA meetings usually don't last that long.
Correct.
So if they're here for an hour at $500 an hour, that's $500 a month. And if they spend 2 hours, 3 hours looking over information in the meantime, give them that rate per month. I think it should be an hourly basis as needed. It's nice to save from 45 to 25. I want to save from 25 down to 7. Personally, that's where I'm coming from. If we're going to be moving money toward projects, let's move money toward projects.
Okay.
At this moment, legally, the CRA is not turning out enough that I can imagine $25,000 is warranted. So, depending on what the rest of the council feels, I would take that number down to an hourly rate.
But like Councilwoman and still and when concerned, I think the redevelopment structure that you want to bring, and you put the plan together, and you try to put the financial situation of the CRA together. I think the board members, we're going to need to approve that. That's a plan we're going to need to approve. That's mean I don't think it's is in place. We should put it in place before final approval. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I don't know.
You are right, and you are right, and let me address the comment by Board Member Galvin. I need to verify this, but I believe the way that their existing engagement with the city is structured is we establish a annual budget, and we work against that on an hourly basis. Right now, we're well under budget, and we're not entitled to that $45,000. We are only entitled to the amount of money that we work for based upon the hourly rate with a not-to-exceed budget, like all your other departments in your city. So the reduction of $20,000 would be our not-to-exceed, and we would charge against that on an hourly basis. And so if at the end of the year there's less money or less time spent by us, you receive the benefit of that savings.
So,
Do you mean you work and you send invoices?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's part of the contract I have on my desk, is $20,000, not to exceed 20, with a $200 an hour hourly rate.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we don't have to spend 20,000.
No, it's not to exceed
It's a
20.
cap.
Exactly.
I understand that. Let me rephrase, since we're going to get all jargony. I would cap it at 7,000, and once you're at 7,000, they're out the door. I really think there's no need for a CRA that's barely doing any real programming to have the ability to spend that much money on attorneys. That's just where I'm coming from. You know, we laid people off. There are people now without work because we're not producing. What's fair for one is fair for all. Knock it down. I won't say to zero, but I would knock it way down and let everybody know, do it fast. Don't dilly-dally if you're reviewing documents. You've only got $7,000 to spend. I'm just saying 7,000, whatever. Personal recommendation is just to...
but we are due for a budget here.
Right, it would all be presented in your budget, that's correct.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
okay. It's July.
Yeah.
We're going to work on the budget, so there's no need to discuss it with...
The budget will be brought to you in September for approval, so all of that would be, all the details would be in your budget.
Okay.
Thank you.
And any other questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? Nobody want to say anything? Mr. Manager, any old business? Oh, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, council members. I am Gypsy Metellus. I reside at 515 Northeast 107th Street in Miami. And what brings me here this afternoon is to express to you my deep concerns, my pain, my embarrassment at the manner in which, not what occurred, but the manner in which I think, very reputable member of our community was dismissed by your current manager. I am not here to question your right as a manager to reorganize reorganize an entity that you feel is important. I'm not here to second guess your decisions. I'm just hearing you say that you didn't have a plan for this reorganization. This is a plan that you are, I suppose, creating as you speak. But be that as it may, my concern remains the manner in which you dismissed a member of the community, because you allowed the perception to be that on the one hand, he was being let go because there were some dollars missing, which you attributed to his direct involvement in. Secondly, you took a city resident and barred him from accessing City Hall. And last I checked, City Hall is the hall of the people. It's the house of the people. I am not a resident of the city of North Miami, but I spend enough of my tax dollars, my money here, that I've always felt welcome to come here, address you, comment on issues that I think are important, not just in this community of North Miami, but in general. And so I do want to recognize and acknowledge that you've always provided me that opportunity. But I think what occurred is shameful. You let this particular occasion feed into a very scary narrative that I see emerging from this council, right? And there are some members on the council who I think are feeding into that narrative. And it's a narrative of people who can't be trusted, a narrative of people who are accused of a number of unspeakable things, a narrative of a community that is spawning more of the same. And I'm here to tell you that I am offended. I would require that Mr. Manager apologize to the individual in question, apologize to the community, excuse me, apologize to the community, and the officer, if I understand, if my facts are correct, the officer who was, I suppose, instrumental in creating this barrier or in prohibiting this person from accessing the building also needs to be disciplined, right? Because again, when you've never been on this side of the color line, right? So you may not understand, Councilman Galvin and Councilwoman Keys, you may not understand what that feels like. You may not understand the issues of perception. You may not understand what it feels like when you walk into an establishment and someone looks at you funny or someone assumes that you're up to no good, right? So let me say to you that on behalf of, I think, all of the black residents in the city, what happened was offensive. It was shameful. I am hurt. I'm offended. And I, for one, I expect an apology. And I certainly hope that you will apologize to Mr. Prudent, who is the person at hand here.
Thank you, and Madam Metellus and Mr. Manager, Director. And I don't think here we can answer questions about speculation. I don't think no one here talk about stolen money. I don't think we ever talk about that. And Madam Metellus,
Yes, sir.
and I never heard either the city manager, myself, or another member of the council officially talk about stolen money.
Well, let me refresh your memory, sir.
That's speculation. No, we're not going to have a conversation. But, Mr. City Manager, if you want to answer her about the second part of the question, that about the incident, maybe she will understand.
I don't think that that's necessary. And Madam Metellus, we've been great friends for many years.
Madame Metellus, sir. Thank you. Not Madam. Madam has a different connotation. Thank you. Madame.
Madame Metellus.
Merci.
Gypsy.
If you'd like, Scott.
As an openly gay man, I'm offended to hear you say that I don't know what it's like to have people judge me by who I am. I do know what it's like to be on your side of the fence. Maybe
no, it's not the same side, Scott. It's not the same side.
Well, then we'll agree to disagree greatly, because I guess you've never been on my side of the fence.
No, I have not. I've not. And I wouldn't presume to know what that feels like either.
So, since we agree that neither of us presume to know anything, let me allow you to have the time after this meeting to meet with the city manager to review what really happened. You said you want to be able to check your facts, so please check your facts. This was not the first time we've used a police officer to escort a former employee from the building, but I think it should be the last. It was something that was adopted about 10 years ago or so. When a private corporation has an employee fired, they don't need a police officer to take them from the building, keep them from the building, or anything similar. Mr. Prudent should not have been escorted out by police escort, for lack of a better term. Neither should anybody else who's been fired in the last 10 years, though they all have. Let's cease that practice. You can have somebody who supervises somebody and walks them out of the building if necessary, but it doesn't need to be somebody with a badge and a gun, because I completely agree with Madame Metellus that creates a bad impression all the way around. So my advice would be that the next time we have to let somebody go, if that has to happen, that just have somebody in a supervisory nature walk them out, not a police officer with a gun, even though I understand that wasn't the intent to have happened with Mr. Prudent, which when you meet with her, perhaps you can, with Gypsy, you can.
And to the issue of what's been written in the papers, I know that many of you, if not most of you, read the Miami Herald, as do I. And so reading again on the various reports, that was clearly the buildup. Although the very last article had embedded maybe in the third paragraph that what occurred to Mr. Prudent is not tied to the findings of your auditor, though he subsequently said to you that, well, while everything was all right, that you should change practice such that things like that don't leave question marks. But somebody had to have read that, and somebody had to have been interested in reading that. The perception remains. $100,000 missing. you come in and you say you're going to reorganize, you're going to let go
Madam
of your
Meteris,
coordinator,
we
and
we
your...
talk about 100,000 missing.
I
talked
read the
about
Miami
that.
Herald, and maybe...
We're talking about
We're talking-
discrepancy of 100,000, and that word has been said by the auditor
Right, but
of
then-
the city.
but then-
We never said
Yes,
anything about
but the
100,000.
discrepancy is being allowed to be felt as if someone actually took $100,000. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's
to you.
not what it is.
But I'm saying to you, this is the perception, Mr. Bien-Aimé.
We're
It's
not
the
going-
perception.
Okay.
You don't have to argue against perception.
But-
If
but-
that's what my perception is, and
Okay.
if you poll many of your residents, that may be the perception too. And if that's not the perception, there's clearly confusion because things occurred in a manner that lent itself to confusion. And
Thank-
so I'm here to tell you that, that's not good. That's not
Th-
good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, have a meeting with her and explain
Sure, I'll- after the
exactly
meeting.
what happened.
Yeah.
Is there any new businesses?
No, that's it. That's all I have for the agenda.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn? Adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. See you next time. Citizen forum.